Let's take a look. First of all, we saw invention, right? On the previous slide, we saw an example of two inventions. The telephone, an old telephone, and a modern day telephone. Well, an invention is something new or a new way of doing something. So it's interesting to think about that. Invention isn't just something new, that's an object, right? It's an object. If you create something new, that's an object, like a telephone or a cell phone. But take this out, check this out, a new way of doing something. That is a method. So inventions can be physical objects, things we touch or use, but they can also be things we don't touch, just things that we do, right? It's not something we can look at, it's not something we can pick up, it's just a way of behaving or a way of doing something, a method. So inventions are really two types, object, a physical thing, or a method, a way of doing something. And if you think of a new way of doing something, that's an invention too. By the way, it's very interesting. We have many words in this unit that end with T-I-O-N. Invention. Invention. Whenever you see T-I-O-N, you know that that word is a noun. Many of these words are also used as verbs, and we drop I-O-N, we say to invent, right? So invention is a noun. To invent, right? We get rid of I-O-N, we have a verb, to invent. So if you make something new, or you think of a new way of doing something, you are inventing. You have an invention. Okay, we'll see many words like this in today's lesson. Let's take a look at the next one. Tool. A tool is a thing. It's a thing, so it's an object that helps people do a job. When you do your job, what is your job? You are students, right? So your job is to do homework. What tools do you use to do your job? You probably use paper, right? A notebook and a pencil. Those are your tools. Those tools help you do a job, your homework. But there are many jobs, aren't there? And many different tools. These are typically what we think of when we think of tools, right? A paintbrush for a painter who wants to paint something. A wrench for a plumber who wants to fix something. These are all tools that people use to do their job. It helps them do their job. Okay. Here's another I-O-N word, T-I-O-N, education, right? Education is teaching or training people and the things people learn. So really we've got two parts to this definition. Teaching or training people, that's one part, and the things people learn. The things people learn, that's the second part. Okay? So education is all of that. Right now, we are involved in education. What we're doing right now is education. I am educating you guys, right? Education. Education is a noun, but to educate is a verb. Educate. So you see, we can take many of these I-O-N verbs, which are nouns, and make them into verbs, right? Education. We are involved in education right now. I am educating you. So, good word, education. Okay, let's move on. Information, another T-I-O-N word, right? There's so many of them, right? Information, facts or details that you know about something. So how many facts and details do you know? You probably know a lot of information, right? Especially if you've been studying these books quite a bit, right? So we've been learning a lot of information. Facts or details. If you look at something, of course, he's looking at very specific facts and details about something. But when we think about science, you know, about the earth or about insects or animals or people, those are facts or details. We know about those subjects. That is information. Now, as we are doing, we're looking at these words and we see that they are nouns. What is the verb form of information? What is the verb form? If you guess, to inform, right? So to inform. To inform is like to tell somebody about something, to tell them about the facts or details that you know you're going to tell somebody else. You will inform them. Right now, I am informing you, right? I'm informing you about this word information and many other words as well. Okay, so let's move on. Communication, really long word, right? Of course, we have T-I-O-N again. There's so many of them, right? In English, we have, this is a very common ending for many words. Shun, communication, communication. Okay, so what is communication? The way, it's a method, right? It's a method. People share ideas and exchange information. So when we talk, when we inform each other, when we educate people, we share ideas, we exchange information, right? So teachers or parents will educate children, right? Or children will inform their parents about their day, right? They will tell them, they will give them the facts or details about something that happened to them. So we are always exchanging our ideas, aren't we? We communicate with many people around us every day. And I just used the verb to communicate. To communicate. We communicate with each other every day. That is communication. We call this process, this method, communication. The action is to communicate. So we are communicating right now, right? Okay, let's move on. We have another word here, machine. A machine. A machine is a tool. Remember we talked about tools before? We saw the pictures of the tools, but those tools we saw before are very simple. They don't have really many moving parts, maybe just one part that moves. But a machine is a complex machine. It's a complex tool. It has many parts and it's used for a particular job. And another thing about a machine is that you can turn it on. You use electricity and it works and it does something for you. In fact, machines do work instead of people, right? With machines, we can do so much more than we can do with just simple tools and one person or a few people. Machines can work very quickly and they can do dangerous jobs and they can produce many amazing things. This machine here is busy making a car. So machines are complex tools, not simple tools, but complex tools that are used for a particular job, a certain job. For example, a printing press. A printing press is an example of a machine, right? A printing press is a machine that is used to make books or newspapers. So if you have your books, right? You have a book in front of you right now, right? How was that book made? It was made on a really big machine called a printing press. Also, when you get your newspaper, right, at your house, if you get a newspaper delivered to your house, that newspaper is printed on a printing press. Let's take a look of a printing press in action. This is a printing press here. This is the paper. Let's take a look. Wow, that's really fast, isn't it? It's going really fast. And look at how big this machine is. It's really big and it's coming up through here and the drums have different colors and they're putting the ink on the paper as the paper goes through. It's really fast. And of course, this machine can make many books or many newspapers very, very quickly. Much faster than people can if they didn't have a machine. So machines make our lives easier. They allow us to do our work very well, very quickly, and to make many, many things in a short period of time. So that's an example of a printing press. Now let's take a look at another very old tool. Okay, this is a much older tool, a slate. A slate is a writing tablet. Of course, a long time ago, people really didn't have paper. They may have had something, they could have carried around a piece of charcoal or a piece of of something around with them, and they call it a slate. And they use chalk to draw on it or to write on it. So people would use a slate to write on it, and they could pass it to another person, and they could take it very far away, and another person could read the message. So this is a very old style of communication, right? Not many people use slates nowadays. Sometimes we use slates for fun, but it's not really practical. Normally we use notebooks and paper instead of slates. Okay.
Lesson 9. Changes in communication. Invention. Something new or a new way of doing something. Tool. A thing that helps people do a job. Education. Teaching or training people and the things people learn. Information. Facts or details that you know about something. Communication. The way people share ideas and exchange information. Machine. A tool with complex parts that is used for a particular job. Printing press. A machine that is used to make books or newspapers. Slate. A writing tablet.